I recently made a post about Hedera over on X, and it was actually this one. Watching the Hedera ecosystem expand as fast as it has over the last few months is something special. If you were holding HBAR in 2020 and 2021, you know just how much growth there has been in the ecosystem. This will be one of the largest projects in crypto, and I have no doubt about that. Now, what's interesting about this is I have been reading a lot of comments on not just the channel, but also under a lot of posts like this. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of positive posts, there's a lot of positive comments, but I can't help to spotlight the negative ones as well, because let's just be honest here. A lot of the negative ones do start to outshine the positive ones. And what I mean by that is we start to see an increased amount of negative comments when the price action isn't doing something that everyone wants it to do. Now, I'm going to talk about that as well, because when we think about HBAR right now, we're sitting at about almost 17 cents. This is what the chart looks like over on CoinMarketCap, and I have this on the all-time chart as well. We are currently trading at prices that we, are used to seeing going back to 2022 or even going all the way back to 2021. So, we might sit here and say, all right, well, HBAR has done absolutely nothing then, right? But this is incorrect, right? Like if you were here during 2022 all the way through 2023 and even into 2024, you had the opportunity to accumulate HBAR under 5 cents. And I understand that not everyone had that opportunity. I'm just saying that, for a lot of us, we are still very happy with where HBAR is price action wise. And I bring that up because, a lot of people are complaining that there's so much happening around Hedera, yet we're not actually seeing the price action align with those announcements. But I also want you guys to understand that fundamentals are not changing the price of these altcoins. In fact, utility doesn't even change the price of these altcoins right now because we're tied back to Bitcoin still. We are still very well in that 4-year cycle, and we are still very well tied to hype and speculation. Until we get away from that and completely, start to move towards a utility-driven market, most of these altcoins, they're not going to have a real value tied to them. It's going to be a fake value. But when it comes to HBAR, I also made this post on X, and I was just mainly talking about why time in this market is so much more valuable than trying to time the market. And I outlined that 210 days ago, HBAR, for an example, was trading at sub 5 cents. It's currently up 300% plus from the November lows. And for, everyone to see, here you have that chart. Right? And it was actually trading at a lower price than what we have here on CoinMarketCap. So, HBAR is still up over 300% plus. A lot of these altcoins are still up significantly off of the November lows, and that was just 210 days ago. And I know that seems like a lot of days ago, but it's really not in finance. But we are still up significantly, and I want you guys to understand that sometimes, we do have to zoom out, and we do need to take a moment to realize how far we have, come. But also, when it comes to fundamentals and the ecosystem around Hedera, that's something that I have been spotlighting for quite some time because it is so crucial to take a step back and realize how big Hedera actually has become. Let's actually talk about that. Let's talk about what happened in just 1 week on Hedera. Hedera Foundation posted this, and we have Vera Standards, with 1 billion plus in carbon credits issued, selects the Hedera Guardian. Dovu Official announces it's tokenizing 1.1 billion plus of carbon credits. StegX announces it's tokenizing 100 million plus worth of real estate. Guys, tokenization on Hedera is on fire. But it's not just these types of moves. There's also a lot more movement happening around Hedera than ever before, and it's not coming from just the Hedera side. It's not just centered on Hedera. It's also from this entire space. Going back to 2021, a lot of people actually didn't even know about Hedera. Today, Hedera is a massive giant. I mean, think about it like this. We're over 441,000 followers. I believe back in, just 2024, we were at like 350,000, maybe even less. And the Hedera Foundation is over 133,000 followers. Community recognition and growth around the entire community for Hedera has been non-stop growing for the last, 4+ years. And recently, in the last 12 to 24 months, that has been accelerating faster than ever before because of all of the developments and all of the noise being made around Hedera. But like I said, we've also been seeing a lot of acceptance of Hedera. For an example, over here we have new Coinbase Financial Markets launches 24/7 trading for Bitcoin and ETH futures on Coinbase Advanced. It also expands its product lineup to include Solana, XRP88, and also HBAR, silver and natural gas with perpetual style futures coming soon for US customers. This is huge and it's very bullish. And it means that, when we think about Hedera and HBAR, the entire market for HBAR is starting to expand. I mean, even when we think about HBAR right now, it's listed on almost every single major exchange. I remember back in 2022, for an example, we were fighting to get Coinbase to list HBAR, and it finally did happen in 2022. But today, we no longer have to try to get HBAR's name out there. We no longer have to try to get exchanges to list HBAR or expand the market for HBAR because they also realize how big Hedera is becoming. Now, on top of this, right, stablecoin growth. Guys, stablecoins right now in the all-time view on Hedera are up over 2,150%. Stablecoins on Hedera are growing massively, which we love to see because of how big stablecoins are starting to become. I've been talking about it with, XRP and Ripple for quite some time with RLUSD. Stablecoins are becoming massive in not just crypto, but traditional finance. 1.1% of the US money supply is now in stablecoins, and this is only going to continue to grow more and more. On top of this, let's take a quick look at the stablecoin market growth, which did get outlined by Hgraph. We have here that stablecoin liquidity underpins the crypto ecosystem, enabling efficient trading, powering DeFi and ensuring seamless, predictable transactions. 1,298%, by the way, in just 1 year. This is the all-time over here, 2,150. But in 1 year, 12 months, 1,298%. And we could see that growth. I mean, in the month of, towards the end of May, we did have that massive jump from, roughly 130 million to almost 200 million in stablecoins. Guys, the growth right now around stablecoins on Hedera is just seriously very bullish because this is going to enable so many additional things, like, for an example, DeFi, trading. The DEX side of Hedera as well around SocialSwap is starting to see a lot more polls adding up in terms of volume and value. Also, they are set to announce a huge change around their website. So very excited about that. But again, this is all happening in a very short amount of time. I mean, in the month of May alone, in the last 30 days, 123% growth around stablecoins alone. And the ecosystem just continues to expand, just like this, post from the Hedera Foundation. And also, by the way, Masari Crypto on May 15th put out the report around Q1 of 2025 because we are now in Q2. And we have here, key update, DEX volumes on Hedera averaged 10.8 million per day in Q1, increasing 0.5% quarter over quarter, maintaining the all-time high recorded in the previous quarter. Quarter over quarter metrics, daily average transactions, 25.8%, stablecoin market cap, 91.7%, and then daily average active contracts, 213.3%. Again, this is something that I want you guys to realize. It's not just, these big announcements or partnerships or expanding the market. It's also the actual network usage starting to grow, which is exactly what we want to see. Everything is in an upward trajectory for Hedera. The only thing that needs to follow with it is the price, which, like I've said, this is something that I've stated many times over in the past as well, right? Price action follows fundamentals, right? So fundamentals right now, even though we're still tied back to Bitcoin, even though, like I said in the beginning of this video, that, the value of some of these assets, or pretty much all of them, is fake because we are still tied to that 4-year cycle. We're still tied to hype and speculation. We're still tied to Bitcoin. I've stated this many times over, even leading into the November push, right? All of these announcements, everything that's happening around Hedera, all of this is It's pressure, right? Like everything's doing very well on Hedera except for the price action. The price will catch up to that. I've stated this even with XRP, right? For an example, XRP had a tremendous run from the November and October lows all the way to its high of $3.40. Okay? And everyone during that time was asking, why? Even when we go back over here, right? A lot of these altcoins, everyone was asking, why? Why are they doing so well? HBAR, XRP, XLM, XDC, Algorand, for an example, as well. All of these utility-based projects, guess what they were seeing during that entire time of, just long sideways price action or just chop? Because again, a lot of these altcoins leading into that November timeframe, we had that nice run up back in March of 2024, and then it was just sell off and very, very dark price action. What we saw during this entire time, regardless of price action, was Hedera expanding rapidly, announcement after announcement, partnership after partnership. The tooling around the Hedera ecosystem as well was expanding. The stablecoin studio, the tokenization studio, like all of these things were launching, and everyone was saying, well, all of these launches, yet the price action is doing nothing. We're still down this much, or we're still trading at this, price level. Guess what? Then November hit and everyone was saying, oh, I should have bought more. Is now a good time to buy? This is why I say follow the fundamentals, because these are not going unnoticed by the big money. And that's the big difference, right? Retail wants to get rich quick. They want to get, paid immediately. And I understand it. I get it. But the big money right now is looking at these announcements. And the reason why I say that is because look at what's happening around XRP. Institutional adoption is picking up. We just recently witnessed a lot of tokenization efforts on the XRP ledger as well, and it's by big players, big companies also adding XRP to their strategic reserves. That's because of what's happening around XRP. So when it comes to Hedera, right, we look at the profiles of Hedera and we scroll down all of these big events, all of these big expansions, all of the partnerships. This is all pressure. And it's also very good for networking, for partnerships, for, big players to look into Hedera and realize the power of it. I understand where everyone is coming from. I understand that it's been a long time since we've witnessed very solid price action like we saw back in, October, November, and even December. But I also want you guys to realize that during this entire time from that high back in December to now, it's been nothing but nonstop growth for Hedera. And yes, once we start to get away from Bitcoin, or once Bitcoin starts to pick back up, and once we see Bitcoin dominance dropping, HBAR is going to be one of the biggest winners in this space. And not only is it going to be one of the biggest winners in this space, it's also going to reach into the top 10, possibly top 5 on, the list right now. And the top 10 has $24 billion in market cap. The top 5 has $92.6 billion in market cap. And HBAR right now is sitting at $7.1 billion in market cap. So the upside potential on HBAR right now is extremely significant. The ecosystem is on fire. The fundamentals around Hedera is still, it's so impressive. So when I think about HBAR today, when I talk about Hedera, I have such high confidence in Hedera because of what's going on and because of what I have witnessed in the last 4 or 5 years. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on. If you guys want more free content, you guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.